everybody. How's it going? Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome and thanks for joining me today. In today's video, we are going to talk about how to find whatever key you're in, how to find the boxes that go with that key. And by extension, that means the pentatonic scale. And we're going to talk about both major and minor. So this might be a little bit longer of a video. I'll warn you right now. If you're just looking to grab a couple of new licks, this ain't going to be it. But I get a lot of questions consistently about if I'm in this key, how do I know which box I can use, and how do I know what to play? And sorry, I'm clicking a couple of buttons here while we go. All these different things about how do you do this and how do you do that. And so I thought, okay, this is going to be a great opportunity. We're just going to talk about all this stuff at once. So if you are watching on the YouTubes or watching on the Facebook and you have a question, shoot them out to me. Hey, Tony, how's it going? Let me know you can hear me okay. I've got the streams going up here. Like I say, this might take a few minutes to get through it all, but I'm okay. I'm in no hurry. So we're just going to do it, all right? So here's the thing. Now, I'm going to assume, I should lay this out first. I'm going to assume that you know how to play what we commonly call the 5 boxes of the pentatonic minor scale or the blues scale, okay? And just so we're all on the same page, box 1, for example, in the key of A minor is the one most people are pretty hip to. Just so we're all talking about the same thing. Box 2 connects to box 1. They all connect. Box 3 box 4, and then next to that would be box 5. So that's way up here at the 15th fret in this case. Or you could drop it an octave and play it down at the 3rd fret. And of course, after box 5, again, comes box 1. Okay, so here's the thing. Box 1 tends to be home base for a lot of people, and for a very good reason. And that's because the root notes fall on the 6th and the 1st string. We as guitar players are used to finding our root notes on the 6th string because we do that to find bar chords, right? If we need a G bar chord, we know how to find a G, right? So therefore, if we need a G, minor pentatonic scale, we know we can put box 1 on that same G, right? Same thing up here, we have that G up top. Okay, so we know that we can do that. Where we run into problems is when we want to play in that key, but we don't want to play right there, right? We know we're in the key of G minor, but we've been playing down here and we're bored. We want to move on. We want to get to something new. We want to get to some new real estate, okay? That's where the other different patterns come in. If I want to move up, I can go to the 2nd box, right? And I don't have to play the whole thing, or maybe I could go up to the 3rd box, or the 4th box, or even the 5th box, or even all the way up to the 1st box again. Okay, so I can use what's super important that you understand, because I get this question all the time. How do I know which box to start with? There is no right answer. Pick one. They all contain the same 5 notes. Okay? So there's one thing, if there's one thing that you absolutely have to understand, it's that all 5 box patterns contain the same notes if placed correctly. Okay? Now, if I play box 1 here on A, I am in the key of A minor. If I play box 3 starting on that A, I am not in the key of A minor anymore. Okay, in the key of A minor, box 1 starts here Okay, so notice that on the 6th string, the second note that I play is on the 8th fret. That note is always going to be the start of the next box. Okay, so wherever one box ends, the next box begins. So that's where box 2 starts. Okay, well on the 6th string of that, right, the far note there is the 10th fret, so that's where box 3 is going to start. Okay, so if I want to play box 3 in the key of A minor, I've got to start it up here at the 10th fret on the 6th string. Okay, that, however, is a little bit of a foolish way to look at it, and the only reason I say that is because there's that's a D note. The 10th fret on the 6th string is a D, and D doesn't really have that doesn't do anything for us in the key of A. If we're playing A minor blues scale, right, D didn't really do anything for us. What we probably want is an A. And you've heard me talk about this recently. I did a video a week or two ago where I talked about how you're probably learning your boxes wrong. Okay, and this is what I run across all the time, is people say, okay, well, box 3 in A minor starts at the 10th fret. Okay, well, and yeah, you're right. But what's important is that it has a root note on the 2nd string. Because what'll happen is you'll find yourself at that 2nd string A, and you'll want to figure out where you can play from here. Okay, well, the only way you can figure that out, okay, based on what you know already, the only way you can figure that out is to keep your mind focused on this note. This is where you're at, okay? And I got to go back to what I know. I know that I have an A, box 1 would start right here. Okay, the next note of that would be right here, so that's going to be the start of box 2. That note is going to go up to here for box 2, and that means that that's going to be the start of box 3. So now I know that box 3 is going to start on this note, and that's going to give me this one because they're in roughly the same general position. Okay, so I have to imagine, if I want to play from here, I have to imagine where the other two shapes are so that I can see that box 3 would be here. Okay? But like I said, if you are playing over a blues in A, you can use any of the 5 boxes. Okay, and what I encourage you to do, I've got my looper, as you know. I often have my looper. So let's take a really simple strum. Right? Something like that. Okay, so I've put that in my looper. Let's play the A minor pentatonic scale over that. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. So while that goes, I'm going to play box 1. It's still a little bit loud. 2, 3, 4. Right? Or how about box 2? Or 3. Or 4. Or 5. Box 5 down here. Okay, so notice that they all sounded about the same. Obviously, some of them have higher notes and some of them have lower notes, but they all sounded about the same because they all contain the same 5 notes. Okay, so that's really, really important, and sometimes it's hard to get your head around. I get that. One of the things is that you have to remember too is that boxes, the concept of boxes is only a guitar thing. Okay, like if you talk to a piano player and ask him if he knows his 5 boxes, he's not going to have any idea what you're talking about. To a piano player, it's simply the A minor pentatonic scale or the A minor blues scale if you add the blue note, okay? They're effectively the same, so you're going to hear me mix and match the names. So we can play the minor blues in any key, okay? The way that we are going to do that is by finding that key's root note on the 6th string and play box 1 there, okay? So if I need the key of D minor, right? If I'm playing a blues in D, right? Let's make it a funky blues. All right? So I got a little funk going on. So here's D at the 10th fret of the 6th string. Or I could go up to box 2. Or 3. Right? Or maybe you feel like that's a little bit high. Move it down an octave. 12 frets equals an octave. Okay, or box 4. Or box 5. Or box to 1. Right? I can use any of those 5 boxes, and I'm going to be in the key of D minor. Now I'm going to get to the major here in a minute, so bear with me. I can play in any minor key using that method. Go to the root note on the 6th string and start box 1 there, and you will have the proper key. The way you go to the other boxes is keeping in mind that they all move and they all connect. So if I was in the key of B minor, right, box 1 would be at B. Okay, which means box 2 would be right there. It connects. That's going to be box 3 because they connect. That's going to be box 4 because they connect. That's going to be box 5, but I don't want to try to cram my hand in there. So since that's the 17th fret, 17 minus 12 is 5. That's box 5. Okay, so I can find any minor key that way, right? And I encourage you to try that. If you do a Google search for a thing called the circle of fifths, you don't have to know about the circle of fifths or what it does, but it makes a handy practice tool. Print one out and put it on your wall. It'll start with C at the top, and then the next one to the right will be G, and the next one will be D, and the next one will be A, and then E, and then B, and there's reasons for that. Not important right now for our conversation. Start with the C, right, and work your way around that circle. For you, it'll be that way. All right, go around the circle and find all of the boxes, starting with 1, using that root note. Put your first finger on that root note. So if the first one is a C, right, go find a C on the 6th string and play, put your first finger on it and play box 1 there. That means box 2 is going to be right here. Which means box 3 will be here. Which means box 4 will be here. Which means box 5 will be here at the 18th fret. I can't go that far. So I subtract 12. Okay, and I encourage you to do that. Go through all 5 of the box patterns around a circle of fifths. Okay, if it turns out that's going to be 12 different keys. You're going to go C, G, D, A, E, B. B is going to say it's the same as C flat. Just do B. Next one's going to be F sharp, which it's going to say is the same as G flat. I would just do the F sharp. The next one is going to be C sharp, which it will say is the same as D flat. take your pick. I usually think of C sharp. Let's see then. From the other way, C, F, B, E, A, D, G, C, F. So it's going to go B flat. I don't know why I can't think of it off the top of my head. The D flat, A flat, E flat, B flat, F, I think. For some reason I'm drawing a blank. That's all right. It just goes in fourths. So if or fifths, I mean. So from the D flat, it'll be A flat, E flat, B flat, F, C. Yeah, that's right. I was right. Okay. It's been a long time since I looked at a circle of fifths. I don't actually use it on a daily basis, believe it or not. So I have different ways of figuring out. Circle of fifths is really good for a lot of different theory things, and I don't use it generally. I have other ways. I have other little tricks that I like to use. Okay, so where are the bends? Bends are any place where you can bend a note. Anytime the next note in the scale is one whole step up, you can bend. Okay, so and I have a whole nother video on where you can bend, so I won't get too crazy on it. But for example, like in box 1, all these top notes, they all work. In box 2, the top note, this one doesn't really work unless you want to go up a whole step and a half. But technically speaking, any note can be bent as long as you bend it to the next note in the scale. Okay, so let's see. I don't get it. How can I watch this? I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question. But you can always go back and watch this again later. If it's not making sense, the nice thing about video is you just go back and watch it again. So we've talked about all of the minor boxes. How do we make a major? Okay, and I've actually done a video on this recently too, but let's cover it one more time just to be clear. If I go to box 1 and I put my first finger there, I get a minor pentatonic sound. If, however, I do what's called the relative major. The relative major is 3 frets away, okay? C. So if I play box 1 here, I'm playing the key of A minor, but I'm also playing the key of C major. Notice that my pinky goes on the root. Okay? So there is a C major. So if I want to find any major key, I'm going to, again, go to the root note. Let's say C. But instead of putting my first finger there and playing box 1, I'm going to put my pinky there and play box 1. Or, alternatively, and my preference is that I actually put my middle finger there and I play box 2. Either, whatever works for you, is totally fine. You do not have to do exactly as I do in this case. If you prefer to use the pinky and look at box 1, then do that. If you prefer to use your middle finger and look at box 2, then do that. Okay? And again, they're all gonna, go in order. So after box 2 is gonna be box 3. After box 3 is going to be box 4. After box 4 is going to be box 5. After box 5 is going to be box 1. And we go through the whole thing again. Right? If I go to the key of G, okay? Again, I like to use my middle finger on the G and play box 2. But you could use your pinky and play box 1. You're going to get an open position, right? Box 2, box 3, box 4, they all go together. Box 5. Okay, what if we're in the key of D and we need major? Again, major. So I can either put my middle finger on the D and play box 2, which I like to do. Or if it's easier for you to see it with your pinky there and play box 1, you're going to get the same notes. And again, all the rest of the boxes will follow suit. Okay, so that is how you can find all 5 boxes in any key, major or minor, for playing the blues. Okay, what I haven't told you is how to use them, because that's really kind of a totally different topic. The term key when we play a blues doesn't mean the same thing as it does when we talk about traditional music, classical harmony and classical theory. A key in a blues is a little bit of a misnomer. It's a term that we throw around rather loosely. We don't use it properly. Okay? In a blues, there's 3 chords. We call it the 1 and the 4 and the 5, and I've again done a video on that recently. The 1 chord is considered the key. Okay, so if we're playing a blues in A, we say that A is the key, even though it's not technically. Right? If you actually do the theory behind it, it's not technically in the key of A. It's in 3 different keys, but that's okay. It works for us, and we can make it work. So when we talk about, you'll hear people say, okay, the simplest form of soloing is to use the minor pentatonic / minor blues sound over the entire 12-bar blues chord progression. That's correct. And you can play an awful lot on that. Just because it's the, I'll say, least sophisticated, don't take that to mean that there's any slight against it at all. 98% of Stevie Ray Vaughan's playing is the minor pentatonic scale. 98% of Albert King's playing is the minor pentatonic scale. 98% of Freddie King is the minor pentatonic scale. There's a lot of guys who have had an incredible career out of nothing but a minor pentatonic scale, with an occasional nod towards a more major sound. Okay? So again, don't feel like, oh, all I know is a minor pentatonic scale. That's not going to be cool. You can be plenty cool with that. And I always like to say that if you can't get something cool out of the minor pentatonic scale, you don't need more notes. You just need something better to say. Okay, so I really want to encourage you that you don't have to go learn 30,000 scales. It's not part of the deal. You don't need that. Okay, so if you're playing over a blues in A, you can play the A minor pentatonic scale the whole time. Which box? Any of them. As I've said before, they all work. They will all work just fine. Okay. Again, what I would do is I would grab your looper or grab some jam tracks. If you happen to have my 5x5 jam tracks, you have jam tracks in C, A, G, E, and D, all the most common keys, right? So you can just play over all of those jam tracks and just play through all 5 boxes and just listen, right? If it says that it's a shuffle in A, play in A the whole time. Play A minor the whole time. And play all the different boxes and just listen to the sound and just get comfortable moving around there. If you, I'll say, want to go up to that next level where you sometimes use the major blues sound. So the way this works is over the 1 chord, in a 12-bar blues, there's a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord. Over the 1 chord, you can play the major blues sound. Okay, so in the case of, let's say, A, if I'm doing blues in A, I can use some of the major blues sound over the 1 chord, but when it gets to the 4 chord, I gotta go back to the minor sound. And over the 5 chord, same thing. I gotta stay in the minor sound. Okay, so are those the only 2 options? No, there's a lot of options, and there, the possible ways to approach a blues. There's so many. It's not even funny. But if you're new to soloing, just get used to playing some of the sounds. And don't necessarily try to learn all 5 boxes at once. Learn 1, maybe 2. Go with that for a while. You're not going to need any more. Not for quite a while. You don't need 3, 4, and 5 anytime soon. Okay, there's a lot you can play without them. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And I hope, let's see, do the notes in the box make your chords? No, they don't. It's kind of an interesting thing. It's an interesting topic, probably for another day. But the way the minor pentatonic scale works, it technically shouldn't sound okay. Like when you're playing an A7 chord, there's a C sharp in it. The minor pentatonic scale has a C natural. We take that as okay because it's the sound of the blues. So our ear is trained to accept that and to be okay with it, even though technically it shouldn't work. So that's kind of a fun little side note there. Good question. But like I said, I hope that you will take this to heart. Like I said, go on Google, or if you have my guitar theory course, print out the circle of fifths that's in it, or there's plenty of them on the online. Print it out, stick it on your wall. Use that as a practice tool. Just go through it and make sure you can play all 5 boxes in each of the keys. And the only reason that I don't like to just do them in order is because you just add 1 fret and you don't really see them that well. All right, so hopefully that makes sense and you can get something out of it. I know this was a little longer video than I normally do, but this is kind of an important subject and an important topic. So as always, if you're watching on YouTube and you like it, please subscribe to the Blues Guitar Unleashed channel on Facebook. You like it or you follow it or you do something along those lines. And I don't have Instagram for Blues Guitar Unleashed, so I don't know anything about it. And if you dig this video, you got something out of it, and maybe you have a friend that would dig it, please share it with them, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.